Sup nerds, I'm Wes.
I'm Tom.
Today we're talking about Harvest, coming from Keymaster Games.
It's been out for a year. So the reason why we're calling this Keymaster's version of Harvest is because Harvest was originally printed by TMG several years ago that we reviewed, me and our friend Aaron, and I actually don't remember that at all. And actually what I could have done was look at that video that we did, which actually I don't think anybody should look at that video because it was really garbage quality.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, so I don't really remember that. So this actually isn't going to be much of a compare other than what we've already said.
But also, I feel like it's good not to take your old impression and like this is a fresh look.
It is a fresh look.
You don't remember what you thought about this one.
Yeah. There we go.
See? It was on purpose.
Yeah.
Not laziness. So Harvest is a worker placement game where you are trying to grow crops and you'll never guess it, but harvest them. So you have all your wheelbarrow workers that are going out there. You have to get your seeds. You have to plant your seeds. You have to tend your seed, or you can tend your seeds so they grow, and then you harvest them. You have to manage things because like your board where you are actually planting in the field, you have to clear out the trees to make room to plant them. You can also build buildings there that can give you end game scoring, one-time boosts, and a little bit of points here and there. But really the bulk of your points are going to come from harvesting pumpkins.
Yeah, well, because there's 4 different things that you can harvest, but if you look over here, you'll notice that the 2 lowest ones are 1 point each, whereas the big bad boys are 4 and 6. So there's a pretty big jump. Now, granted, with strawberries, you can plant a buttload of strawberries. It's actually really cheap and easy to tend them. So that's a viable strategy.
And like wheat is free to plant. So I think the wheat almost became like, I don't have anything else to do, so I guess I'm going to plant this wheat that I have.
But the wheat, you don't have to spend poop to plant, but you actually get poop when you, and this is actual poop. It's a poop marker that you can't, it's fertilization. I mean, it's the actual farming.
Manure.
So it's
But it's a poop token or an ice cream emoji, depending on how you look at it.
It's Patrick Stewart from the Emoji Movie.
I am now honored and delighted to be playing the role of the emoji poop.
Such a sweet man.
But it is ultimately a pretty straightforward worker placement game in terms of how you place your workers. And like that, the main mechanics are you just place a worker every round and the different spots tell you what they do. Like, it's not like we played a one recently where there's like 2 different types of workers. One's like a following worker, right? So this is, if you've never played a worker placement game before, this is a pretty solid one to jump into.
Yeah, I think the complexity of this game comes from like limitations to what you can do. Like you need water, and getting water is kind of difficult, but you also need to like make your bucket bigger so that you can hold more water because you're fairly like you don't take that many turns. It's 4 rounds, 3 actions. It's 12 actions the entire game. So you really do need to be strategic about where you go and how you're utilizing those actions because you don't want to be going and filling up your bucket every turn.
It's 12 placements. I mean, some of those are, obviously, right,
multiple actions, yes.
You can get multiple from here, and even the farmer's market where you purchase multiple things.
You're going to place your worker 12 times.
Yeah. But even that, like I said, you can get multiple. You could also not. You could just be screwed out of things where like you have to go to the spot where you can only get 1 action per spot. You also have special player abilities that are some of
optional.
Them are,
you don't have to play.
You don't have to, but some of them are pretty dope. I think the beaver is like one of the strongest ones.
If Robin's beaver devours 6 inches of wood every half hour, and Jessica's beaver devours 8 inches of wood every 45 minutes, how much wood will I need to keep both of these beavers well fed all weekend long?
They're all strong in their own rights, but some of them are more straightforward strong.
Yeah, I know you were saying that technically that one's really strong is a level it's a level 1 ability or how are they grade
in the book
abilities?
There's like, these are the ones to start with, and this was in the ones to start with.
And I do think it's not that it's like more basic, it's just easier to use. Whereas like the one I've just played with was like I gain an extra field action anytime I take a field action, which could be ridiculously strong if you manage it properly. The just you don't pay for this is super straightforward. And like, obviously do a bunch of that because it's free and everyone else is paying for it.
Yep. And now that is actually to talk about the strategies here. There's really like 2 main things. You have to clear off your board in order to place these plants. I couldn't think of the word plants. So you do have to clear off your board, and these are buildings. So you're going to clear this off, flip it up, boom, and they're buildings. But this is also kind of a strategy. So you have to try to balance I don't want to take up too much space full of buildings, then I can't plant crops, which is going to get me points. But also, if I do nothing but plant crops, there's lots of points and like good abilities and good bonuses that are kind of sort of that I'm leaving on the table here. Also, I want to talk about component quality, which I do think the component quality of this game is really great. The artwork and stuff. And I know I said I'm not going to compare it to the old version. The only thing I can remember is they definitely put a lot more care into this in terms of the quality of the components and the artwork and everything. But also what you might be noticing is that last time I played this game, I played with my buddy's copy, and he has the pumped up Kickstarter version with all the deluxe components and stuff. So some of the pictures that we've put up were from that version. So we got a little mixed medium there. It doesn't really matter to me either way. I like this version. I think this is fine. The only aspect from that version that I miss from this version is the dual layer player boards. Because that talking about advancing up on your poop track and the clearing of your forests, that is just a lot nicer. But like, I don't need, even if I'm the beaver, I don't need to have beaver heads as my workers. I can still use the wheelbarrows. That's fine. You know, I don't need metal coins, but I do wish I could get the double player board somehow.
Overall, I liked it. I didn't love it. I feel like I've played a cornucopia of worker placement games over my time playing board games. I don't know if this one really stood out for me personally. I think it was perfectly fine. I'm happy to play it. I don't know if it brought enough to like excite me personally. Yeah,
I agree with that. Where like I like it, don't love it. Like it definitely shines in its it shines at not 2 players actually because we have to use we just finished like literally minutes ago, and we have to use like a dummy player, which it's fine.
Anytime you have to use like a dummy character, I appreciate that it's there so you can play it with 2 players, but it's really not meant for 2 players.
Yeah, and actually I do think this worked out pretty well this game when we did it. It was like a lot of times it was like, oh okay, well that's not a big deal. It doesn't wasn't like, oh, we got RNG screwed over. But sorry, going back to what I was saying, this game shines in its category of like relatively introduction, maybe intro plus, but like this is a light game. It is for newer players, and I think it's gonna do really well there. I think if you're watching this and you're like, well, I haven't played a lot of games, what are you guys talking about? You know? So yeah, this is definitely a really great game in that area.
Yeah.
But just in the vast sea of games, it's not standing out super high.
And I'm not saying I didn't like it. And I'm absolutely confident that there are people out there that are going to absolutely love this game. People who are going to like see the artwork and the color scheme of all of this and be just like zoned in on like this. I love this game. And I think that's great. And I'm definitely not going to be like, no, you're wrong. Play better games.
Okay. But hey, if any of what we were talking about in this video sounds interesting to you, we're going to put a purchase link to this game and maybe the deluxe if we can find it in the by his. Also down there is going to be a link for
Game Toppers.
They're the sponsor. They're the sponsor of Neverboard Gaming. It's what we're filming on right here. They have different play mats and
accessories, clip on.
Yeah, you look at that. You can hang your beaver here.
But also you can subscribe to our channel because that way you'll never be bored.
Bada boom, bada bing, baby. Also down there is going to be a link for...
Oh, me? Yeah, and I do want to make that point.
Sorry.
Hold on.